Joining me tonight is an old friend of almost 30 years, one of the good guys from pro wrestling, a former European champion, a former Intercontinental champion, the one and only DLO Brown. D, welcome, my friend.
My man, what is going on? It's been too long. How the hell have you been?
It's great to see you, man. Life is good. It's just great to have you on. I'm excited just to chat old school wrestling.
I appreciate it. Let's do it, my man. Let's do it.
Whenever I have someone on, if I have a history with them, I like to just address how I know you. Now, when we met, not only did we have like a weekend together on the road with John Reckner, Balls Mahoney
Yep,
of all
Balls
people,
Mahoney, yep.
We had a near-death experience together.
Well, I don't like to talk about it.
Let me give the quick version. So you got booked to work for Smoky Mountain for your tryout.
Yes.
Balls had me drive. He had never licensed, so he had me drive him up there, and you. And my car was not doing very well. So we had to drop once we got there. We had to drop John off at Candido and Tammy's house. So they took him just in case my car was really running bad. So we're going up the Smoky Mountains, and they call them Smoky Mountains because they're Smoky Mountains.
They're mountains.
The car in front of us slams on his brakes. I slam on my brakes, and you and I start spinning. And we're spinning. And I say, dear Lord, let it be painless. And we head off the side of the mountain into a ditch. Correct?
And now, yes. And now that you don't know because you're on the side of a mountain, that could be the side of a mountain, not a ditch.
Correct.
So, yes.
So I'm trying to get.
I'm literally feeling my heart palpitate again as we're talking about this.
So I had rear wheel drive, like I'm like my cousin Vinny. I'm like, I can't get out, D. Why don't you go out there and maybe rock the car? You're like, all right, you're rocking. Then you're like, gun it. I gun it, and I hear stop. And I turn around. You're covered.
I'm covered.
Oh man! But hey, we got a funny story out of it, right?
Look, here's the thing: is we were at least alive. That's all that mattered. And I blended in the surroundings, so it was like camouflage. We can joke about it years later.
But that's a true story, man.
Yes.
That's funny.
Also, I thank you on that day because we went down there and you and I wrestled a dark match. And I remember Cornette saying, "You got 8 minutes. Show me what you got." And 8 minutes later, I got a job, and I thank you for being my dance partner that night because I owe a lot to you. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for saying that. Awesome. So talk to me about Smoky Mountain. I mean, for people who don't know at the time, it wasn't just a black gangster gimmick against white people. There was racism back there.
Yeah, no. Wrestling was still real in the South at that time. And here you've got 3 black guys calling white people out for their own insecurities and putting it in their face. And, New Jack was such a talented talker that he could stand in the middle of the ring, you put a microphone in his hand, give him 5 minutes, and then play music, and Hitler could walk through the curtain and people would cheer for him. Like, that's how much he would make people hate him with his words. So now you put that in the middle of the Deep South, and then have us in a program against the Rock and Roll Express, the ultimate Southern baby faces, and you're putting high test gasoline on top of a campfire and throwing more logs on it all at the same time, which is beautiful. So when people talk about heat as a heel today and they're like, oh, they boo me. No, people really wanted to kill us. People legit wanted to kill us.
How'd you get along with New Jack? How'd you get along with Mustafa?
Oh, bro, like the minute I got into the gimmick with them, I was the brother. I was there. I was there from day one. And I later found out years later it was New Jack himself who watched our dark match, and he and Cornette were having a conversation. He goes, "Yeah, he could be part of the Gangsters. He could be with us." So, he picked me from that day, and then we were boys from that moment on until his passing.
Any good Jim Cornette stories? Any good Jim Cornette rants? I mean, I'm sure you have about 5 days worth of them.
I got a lot. I'm not putting any of them out there. I will just say that a lot of people you either love Jim Cornette, or you hate Jim Cornette. I personally adore him because he gave me my first opportunity in his business, and he's been good to me since day one. And I think sometimes instead of attacking the messenger, you need to listen to the message and then make an opinion. And I'll just leave it at that.
There you go. Talk to me about starting to work for the WWE. I know you did TV matches, but talk to me about being the bump guy in the Nation in the tuxedo. That's how I used to refer to you as. There's DLO. He's the bump guy in the tuxedo. Am I right?
Well, my nickname backstage was Take a Bump D-Lo, because if there was a bump to be taken, D-Lo would do it. It was strange because it was basically an extension of being with the Gangsters, but now we're on a larger platform, a bigger production. And I felt honored that anytime there was an intricate finish, a very detailed, culmination of the match, I was involved with it. That means they trusted me. And they trusted me knowing that I was going to be at the right place, the right time, and do the right thing and sell it the right way. So for me, it was our dream to get there. It was the place we wanted to go. It's like, when you walk around the Monster Factory, there's so many legends that have walked through that, not just that building, but that organization that have gone on to the WWF/E, that you wanted to be the next picture hanging up on the wall. You wanted to join that lineage. So it was programmed in us from day one. That's where you need to go. And so when I finally got there, man, I kept taking deep breaths. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. And then I just kept saying, don't F it up. Don't F it up. And it took me about 6 months to get comfortable and going, okay, they're not going to fire me tomorrow. I think I'm okay. So yeah, but it was, I mean, God, it's the thing you want to do since you were 9 years old. When you thought about wrestling, it's like, I want to wrestle for that guy, his company on that TV. And I don't know how many times you envision yourself walking out on Monday Night Raw and being not just the guy standing in the ring, but getting the guy with the music and getting the announcer to talk about you.
Yeah.
Like, that was it's. I mean, I'm blessed in many ways, and I'm sitting here with goosebumps on my arms right now because I'm going back to those moments, those early days, and it's just I live a blessed life. I'll put it like that.
How did you go from being the bump guy to actually being in the ring, a full part of the Nation?
It was literally Mr. Briscoe. He would watch our matches, and he would be the agent on the road. Sometime him and Jack Lanza, and it was his reports back to the office of, "Hey, this kid's connecting. He's getting some heat out here. He's having good matches with Owen," which I think a Broom could have a good match with Owen, but I was having a good match with Owen, or X-Pac and I are putting on good matches, or if it was me and Mark Henry and myself, we were out there with any member of DX. It was like, we may need to start taking a look at this kid. And then that's when, at the time, Vince Russo, who was writing, started paying a little more attention to me and started giving me a little depth of character. And that's when, around the time, JR came up with the chest protector gimmick. And once those came together, I was gonna steal any spotlight I can get it, and I made sure I did.
Who are the guys who helped you out the most in the back? I mean, you go from the Indies, you go from Smoky Mountain. It's got to be different when you step into a WWF locker room. Like, who are the guys that kind of helped you?
Owen Hart really took me under his wing in terms of helping me critique my matches. At the time when I was there, Brett was there, so Brett would throw stuff in. But I will say the person that gave me the most advice and really, really catered to me was Ron Simmons, because we were driving together every night. So we get in the car, and my job was to get Ron some drinks. He would sit in the passenger seat. I would drive. And if we had 4 hours, he'd spend 3 hours breaking me down and then an hour lifting me back up. And next thing you know, we're at the next town and we're going, let's try it again tomorrow. And that was my existence for a year. Was Ron Simmons broke my matches down. Anytime I was in an interview segment, you didn't make yourself present enough. You were too hidden in the background. He handheld me and spoon-fed me through things that I thought I knew but didn't until I got to that level.
Right. If you look up the term "man" in the dictionary, there's a picture of Ron Simmons, right?
There's a picture of Ron next to it, right under it. It says "damn."
What about the other members of the Nation? Talk to me about Mark Henry.
Okay, so Mark Henry is like the big brother you always wanted because he was the guy who's going to protect you. He'd give you the shirt up his back, and if you didn't take it, he'd knock your ass out. When you woke up, you'd be wearing Mark Henry's shirt. Like, that's how much he loved you. Godfather was just that guy who taught you the other side of life in terms of here's what to watch out for. Oh, this is, he just smartened you up on common sense things. And then Rocky was about experimenting and trying different things. And it's like, okay, let's try this promo style tonight. Let's try this interaction. Or we're sitting in a hotel doing nothing. So it was that work ethic and then experimenting on working on your craft to make it better. And then when you bring, I have those guys in my life. If I don't get better, that's a me problem. That's truly a me problem. If with all that around me. So I just wanted to make sure that I soak every bit of knowledge up like a sponge. And I was always that guy. I wanted to learn more and be better, and I wanted to do that. So, but to have them just giving it to me at that next level, it's like it was going after a master's degree. Like you'd gone through high school, you'd gone through college. This was the master class.
Thoughts on The Rock?
You know what? I have never seen anyone work as diligently as him ever in my life. Like, I've never seen anyone with that kind of commitment to, I want to get better 24/7. I've seen that man. Him have a 30-minute match on Raw, then we drive 200 miles, and then he's at a 24-hour gym when we get to the town because he wanted to get his workout in that night instead of waiting until the morning. I've never seen someone work so hard on promos, looking for stuff, writing stuff down, constantly with a notepad, writing things down that jumped into his mind. So I appreciate his work ethic. He's a really good dude. He's always been good to me. And I was his wingman for a couple of years, so that wasn't bad benefits either.
There you go. Oh, man. Yeah, always. I mean, everyone in the Nation, when you think about it, I mean, between you, of course, but Ron Simmons, the Godfather, Mark Henry, The Rock, just a great bunch of guys. Just a great bunch of guys.
All good dudes who, I've told this story before, it's like, in a lot of groups, you get the backstabbing, like, I want to be the standout guy, so I'm going to knife you down so I can get ahead. Where in the Nation, everyone was just trying to help everyone level up because we realized that the unique opportunity we were given, let's all try to elevate each other. And to me, it shows what the Nation is because the success of a group is based on not when you're a group, but what you are after the group disbands. And everyone in the Nation went to a different level after leaving the Nation. Right. And that says so much about the Nation.
Yeah, very true. Talk to me about the European title.
Oh, brother, man. I never realized how much I could be linked to a title and how much my career could be interwoven with one. I remember the first night I got it, I was like, wow. First of all, I was a champion in the WWF. I'm a champion in the company I've watched, pretty much my entire wrestling existence. And here I am listed with the guys like Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Bulldog and all the great European champions. And here I am. And now they're entrusting it to me. And Russo told me that night, the first night I got it from Triple H, and I'm beating Triple H for the title, by the way. The first night I got it from Triple H, the camera came on to me and I held the belt and I go, I'm the champ of Europe.
Champ of Europe. I remember.
And Russo told me, he goes, that's the minute I knew you were a star because the camera got on you and you kept it going and you turned it up even more. And that's when he's like, okay, let's go. And that's when the whole European run started happening. And man, I mean, that title changed the trajectory of my career and my wrestling life. And it gave me credibility, not only inside the building, but outside the building. And from a third tier title that no one wanted, that was my world's championship. That was my NWA title. That was mine. And all those who got involved with the European title took pride in the fact that when the European title was on the line, you were probably going to see one of the better matches of the night because we were going to go bust our ass. And we weren't going to take a third tier title for who? We were fighting for the frontline title. This was our championship. So we all went out there every night and delivered, and there was no taking a night off because, you've been to WWF house shows when they run the lineup down and they go, in the first match, so-and-so. We would always take pride when they go, and for the European Championship, and the crowd would pop. And you look around and go, they just popped for the just saying European title.
Right.
Which we knew that was a affirmation that we were doing our job. So, I mean, I have nothing but great respect for the title and every one of the other competitors that I've ever been in the ring with competing for or against the European Championship.
Talk to you about working with X-Pac because you guys together made that title mean so much.
Dude, I've said this X himself. I said, you and I could have a 5-star match inside of a phone booth. Like, we just had that chemistry. I can't explain it. It's not like we rolled around each other and we're really super. It's from the second we touched, we locked up the first time. There was an overall comfort between the two of us. And I don't care. He could tater me with a spin kick. It didn't matter. It was going to look good and we were going to work well. And he and I just had this amazing chemistry. And if people ask me who's my favorite opponent or favorite match, any match with X-Pac involved in it can answer either one of those questions. Just a blessing. He's such a tremendous, tremendous worker. And the fact that he even took the time to have those matches with this young kid who was coming off the street, basically. I have nothing but respect for that man. And he knows that to this day. I mean, we've talked about it several times. I owe a lot to him for just being that teacher to me in the ring.
That's awesome. What was it like working with Triple H?
Trip was a cerebral dude. And when you say cerebral assassin, that's the gimmick. But when you're putting a match together with him, he looks at things so next level, like stuff you don't even think about until he brings it up. And you're like, how did I not see that? Like, how did I not see that? This placement, or my back is this way. How did I not see that? So it was always a pleasure being in the ring with him because I got to be in the locker room with him to hear him put that stuff together. And I've always had very good interactions with him. Once again, he was kind enough to help put me over that first European title. And that's something I can never take away. So great stuff. See, I'm like Switzerland. I get along with everybody. Like I'm very fortunate that I've got a good reputation in this business where I'm a likable guy and I went out there and proved it my work and people just, I do my thing. I'm definitely like Switzerland. Neutral as hell.
What are your interactions with Vince like during this time?
Only time I had a few interactions with him myself, but the most time was Ron Simmons dragging me and going, I need to talk to Vince. Come with me. Yes, sir. I'm not going to tell you no. So let's go. So I would tag along. Well, Ron was teaching me how to talk to Vince. He was teaching me how to interact with Vince. But there's a certain demeanor, a certain way you have to do things. If not, Vince he'll be there, but he'll shut you out mentally. He'll just, okay. He'll yes you to death. There's a certain way to deal with Vince, and Ron helped teach me that. And, I've used that throughout the rest of my career, in every office that I've been in and every situation I've been around that ultimate figure. I've used those teachers of Ron. He was always teaching me every second of every day. He taught me the definition of being a professional was not just getting paid, but it was the way you conducted yourself, the manner in which you dressed and spoke and interaction with fans. And then at the end of the day, you get paid. Like that's, wow. I can't speak enough about Ron Simmons. Yeah. So, I mean, if you wonder who the guy I am now because of wrestling, it's because Ron Simmons pulled me along.
Yeah, that's not wrestling stuff. That's real life stuff.
That's life. It's life. Yeah. Ron's my dad. He's my dad I never had that I always wanted.
That's awesome. So I remember going to do a TV one time. It was right after SummerSlam '99. That's okay. The one where you lost the IC title? '99?
Yes, that's where I lost
Okay.
the European IC title. I lost to Jeff Jarrett. Yes.
So I remember because I wasn't there. I didn't do any TV during your IC title run. I remember coming up to you and I go, "D, you got a second?" You're like, "Yeah, what's up?" I come over here. I go, "Bro, you were Intercontinental champion." You're like, "I know." You go, Don Morocco, Tito
Yes.
Santana, Randy Savage, DLO Brown. How did I get here? You know, like I'm sure you don't remember, but you and I had a cool moment just talking about, holy crap, you did it, man. Talk to me about finding out and when you found out you were going to be IC champion.
Well, it was ironically, it was in Columbus, Ohio, the same place I had won the European title. And Russo said, I just won the European title like 3 days earlier at like a house show or something. And I'm getting back, settling back to being the European champion. And Russo goes, "We're going to give you the IC strap tonight." And I go, "What?" And I said, "Do I have to give up the European title?" He goes, "No, you're going to be a dual champion." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. You're telling me?" And so I processed that in my head and then go out there and have the match. And it's Jeff Jarrett. And, you know, we have the match and he graciously puts me over. And I remember coming back to the hotel and I had twin beds in my room. So I sat on one bed and I pulled the belts out and laid them on the other bed and I sat there. And it felt like 10 seconds, was probably an hour. I'm just staring at the belts, thinking of all the people from Pat Patterson on that I'm now forever linked with as being Intercontinental champ. And then it dawned on me, I'm the first guy to ever put these two titles together as Eurocontinental champion. Holy. And right there, I said, man, this is going to live forever. This is not just a blip. This is a historical moment. And it's me. I'm the dude. I cannot believe this. Like that, once again, a lucky, blessed life that at that moment in time, I was the guy they said, "We want you to do this." So, I mean, being Intercontinental champion is one of the great accomplishments of my career in writing my name next to those who came before me. And hopefully one day some kid is going to look back and see my name on that list and go, "Wow, I'm there with all these greats as well." So I don't take anything for granted. I use the word blessed because I am.
When you come back, is anybody waiting there for you to make a big deal?
Ron Simmons hugged me and he goes, "You arrived, boy. You arrived, my boy." Like I didn't care about anything else. But yes, I was getting the high fives and handshakes and pats on the head. It was like everyone in the locker room was happy for me. And it was a good night, but all I saw was Ron Simmons silhouette sitting right there, and I walked right to him because that's the only one I needed to hear from. And yeah, whew. Now I got goosebumps from being in that moment again.
I do too.
Like I was in that moment again in time. I mean, and that's the beautiful thing about our businesses. You have the memories from the other perspective. Yes, we make memories for the people who are watching, but then we get to see the other side of the curtain and have those memories of those same moments, but from a different perspective. And they give you a whole new, like I can watch that match back 1,000 times, but I can never watch back what happened in the locker room and went back to the curtain. Like that's got to be kept here forever. And that makes it special.
Did they tell you that night when you win it, okay, you're going to drop it back at SummerSlam?
No, it was, let's go. I knew it wasn't going to be for long because you can't keep both titles.
Right.
But I at that point, I didn't care how long I was going to keep it. But I kept it 24 hours. It's 24 hours longer than I ever envisioned in my life. So I didn't care. At that point, it was just be happy. Russo was happy for me. Vince was happy for me. And it was just, let's go. And I didn't care when I had to drop it. I just know I held it. And that's all that mattered.
Getting close. Oh, what do we got? 10 more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we do a little speed round, like word association? I'll throw somebody out
Shoot.
there.
Let's go.
You can go one word. You can go 10 hours. I don't care, buddy. It's your time. Undertaker.
One of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. Literally, and I say this, no disrespect to Papa, but he's the true godfather of the locker room. Like, And one of the coolest things I ever remember about him is you expect, because I came from a time when I was doing enhanced work for WWE, that all the stars had all their own locker rooms. You remember this, right? Like there was a general locker room, and then Shawn would be over there and Macho would be over there. You know where Undertaker's locker room was? Right in the center of the regular locker room. Yep. He set his chair in the middle of the room. So if you need to ask him something, he was right there for everybody to talk to. One of the coolest some guns on this damn planet, and that's it.
Bret Hart.
Professional. And one of my biggest regrets in life was I was supposed to start when he left to go to WCW. About a week earlier, we were over in Abu Dhabi, and he invited me up to the Stewart dungeon to come fly up there and come train for a couple days a week. And I just agreed to it, and the company was just starting to work out travel, and he left. And I was like, damn, I really wanted to go sit under that learning tree and just enhance technical skills. But one of the coolest guys, I walked up to him not too terribly long ago at a convention. So Bret Hart is one of the good guys in this business.
Owen Hart?
There's nobody better. There is nobody better. One of the best workers, one of the best people. Just a gifted individual who was the nicest dude I've ever met inside or outside of wrestling. And if you ever saw an excuse or a reason for someone to have an ego, Owen had everything going for him, but no ego. He would give you knowledge, advice, he'd break you down, and then he'd rib you. So that was a way of showing you he loved you. So I miss Owen Hart desperately, and I would give almost anything just to have one more conversation with him.
Kane?
I've known Kane since our Smoky Mountain days. I introduced him to his wife, Crystal. True facts. Uber intelligent and thinks about the business constantly. And is a consummate professional inside the ring and his approach to the ring. And he's a good friend. Haven't spoken to him a little bit lately, but he's a good friend, and he's the mayor of Knoxville now, so he's doing quite well for himself.
Yeah. He's got that going for him.
He's got that going for him. He doesn't have to bump for a living anymore.
Yeah, he still looks great. You see him online. He looks great.
He's got to be 60, right? I mean, he's got to be at least almost 60, and he looks 35.
Yeah.
So
with the miles that are on his body, I don't know how he does it.
And high-end miles, pressure situation miles, top of the card miles, which are that's a hard road to hoe. So yeah.
What about Steve Austin? How is it working with him?
Dude, what you see with Steve Austin on TV is what you get in real life. Like, that's him. He's just sitting there sipping on a beer, chilling. And I'll give you this. Here's one thing I learned from Steve Austin that not many people know. I remember one of the first times I really started being on the house shows, and Attitude was starting to really take off, and Austin was the top dude, right? So I remember I'm getting ready to go out for the second match, and Austin is sitting behind the curtain in a chair with a cup of coffee, peeking through the curtain. And I'm like, okay, maybe someone asked him to watch a match, okay? No. Every night that was his practice. He watched every match on the show every night. Here is the guy who's the top guy who's selling 3 truckloads of merchandise, but every night he's watching every match. So one day I go to him and I go, Steve, you watching every match? He goes, I got to scout for that next guy. That next guy I'm going to work with. I got to scout for that. I want to see what guys are doing. I want to see how they're improving. And right there, that's another thing that changed my perspective on it. No matter how big you are, you're never too big to watch the matches on the show. And that's something I help teach to students when I do seminars is no one gets too big. They can't do the thing you're expected to do as a rookie.
You did that.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Go ahead.
You did that 1-800-COLLECT commercial with him too, right?
Yes. And yeah, that was so fun, man. And it came out of nowhere because Steve was like, he walks up to me because I had a really playful relationship with Steve. Like, I'd walk up and feed my chin for a stunner in catering. Or I'd give he was sitting down, I'd massage his shoulder and go, how does this feel? And he'd lift his hand up and go, all right, 2 inches to the left. Perfect. And it was like we had a playful relationship. So one day he walks up to me and goes, hey, D, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, I'm going home. He goes, would you like to go out to LA with me and shoot a commercial? Come again? Would you like to go out to LA and shoot a commercial with me? You had me at hello. You know, I'm going. Yes. And so we got to spend the flight out there and then the whole shooting schedule, which is about a day and a half. We got to spend all the time together, and he and I really forged the bond there and then lo and behold, people don't know this, but before Steve Austin was Stone Cold, and when he was still the ringmaster, here and I is where we really bonded. I was at Al Snow's Body Slammers Gym in Lima, Ohio. Well, at the time, I'm his trainer. And Al tells me, hey, I got someone coming in who's going to try to work the ring rust off, but he wouldn't tell me. So here we are rolling around one day with the students, and in walks Steve Austin. And this is when he's coming off injury, and he's coming back, and he wants to get the ring rust off because he's going to come back and he's going to be stone cold. And so we're rolling around, and all the students were, you had to keep everything quiet. Don't run around, go tell everybody who's at the school. So then that night, there was a little dive bar across the street from Al's gym called the Valley High. Pretty much it was a basement that served alcohol. Okay. It was that when it's a dive bar, it's a dive bar. And there in that bar, Steve Austin and I were sitting there talking, sipping on beers, and he goes, man, I got this new idea. Because we don't know what his new gimmick's gonna be. We think it's gonna be a ringmaster. And he goes, man, I want to come back as a cold killer. Stone Cold Steve Austin. What do you think? And I wish my name was Steve Austin because that's cool. That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And he told me the origin of the name came from. And he goes, I think I'm going to pitch this. And then, yeah, the rest is history. So, Steve Austin, one of the cool cats.
40 million shirts later, the rest is history.
40 million shirts later, I got at least 2 of them here. But hey. I told myself, and I've been called this, I'm like the Forrest Gump of wrestling because I'm around so many like high-end moments in history or in the ring with so many cool-ass guys and top dudes. I'm like Forrest Gump. I'm everywhere, but I'm just a backdrop in history, but I'm always there.
Before we go, what's your favorite moment in wrestling? Was it winning the IC title? Something I wouldn't even think of. If you had to pick one moment, what's your favorite moment?
Man, that's so hard. But it's either between my match with Val Venus in Madison Square Garden, SummerSlam '98, where in one match I got a successful DLO and a DLO sucks chant in one match. So that tells me the New Yorkers hated me and loved me, but they at least have respected me, which is hard as hell because if you can get over in New York, you can get over anywhere. And then I would have to say getting the Intercontinental title, having both winning that moment, standing up on the apron, holding 2 titles up, almost to the world screaming that I've arrived. And those are 2 good moments that I can tell you every second of every moment of the day leading up to and after those 2 moments. So they mean the most.
Anything you want to plug, D? Anything, any contact information? Anything coming up?
Just guys, hit me up on Twitter at DLO Brown 75. I used to say I was the only verified dealer, but now that you can buy verification for $5 a month, hey, I'm one of 20 now. But it's me. I'm at DLO Brown 75. You can just follow me and see what I'm up to there and my comings and goings. And I talk Chicago Bears football, Liverpool soccer, and the lovely world of pro wrestling. So come hit me up sometime.
Awesome. Thank you, D. This is great. Hope to see you soon. You're always a pleasure, my friend.
My brother, thank you for having me on here. It's my absolute pleasure. And whenever you need me again, you know how to get a hold of me, okay?
Thank you, buddy. Your friendship means a lot to me. Thank you.
I love you. I love you.
Love you too, man. Love you too, bro. Have a good one.